Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is our last session of today, and we are very, very lucky to be joined by the extraordinary duo that is Toby Marlow and Lucy Moss, although they're sitting in the other way around, but their names, don't worry, I'll explain. Toby just ran back from somewhere. I'm going to bring them into the live stream. Hi guys.
I got changed last minute because me and Lucy were matching in our black t-shirts.
I didn't want to say, but I was like, okay, it's like black t-shirt moment.
You're very like backstage orchestra pit vibes, but you know, keeping it fresh now, keeping it different, you know.
Amazing guys, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I know that you are currently writing this week, so thank you for taking some time out to join us. We're going to be talking all things Six, Gay Time Machine. We're going to talk a little bit about writing together as a team and lots of other things related to industry. If you want to ask any questions this afternoon, feel free. You do need to be subscribed to our YouTube channel. Just click subscribe and then you can write in and ask any questions and we will chat more with Toby and Lucy. So guys, yeah, how are you both doing? It's quite warm where I am. Is it really hot in London?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really warm and it's only getting warmer this week.
It is. It's going to be 36 tomorrow, I heard.
Can you believe that? It's basically 40.
Yeah,
it's basically Spain.
Oh God! Basically, we're in Spain, but without the nice food on the beach.
Yeah. All that.
Awesome. So, you guys got together this week, and you're doing some writing. I just want to start a little bit. I mean, I don't know what there is to say that hasn't already been asked of you in some interview. I was like, just going to do a little bit of research before we kind of sat down. I was like, there are literally hundreds and hundreds of articles asking all kinds of questions, but I don't know if everybody knows that both of you kind of have background, so it's not like the Graham Norton show where I'm going to pull like crazy pictures out and be like, both of you have backgrounds in performing. Lucy, you trained at Lanes before you went on to university, and Toby, you were a child actor.
Child star, child actor. The term.
Sorry. Let me rephrase. Child
star. I was a hugely famous and successful child star. It's true. Which is why no one knows.
And how was that? Did it never cross your mind that you wanted to carry that on into being an adult star?
just to go, I am actually being sarcastic, but it was a short-lived career. But it was. Yeah, I think so, because I think I was always like performing in school plays and stuff. And then my mum's friend, who was a director, was like, oh, Toby should have you thought about him doing it professionally and stuff? And then I, got an agent and started like auditioning. And then when I got to the age of 14, I decided to give it all up to focus on my studies and my GCSEs. To focus on my GCSEs. But then I carried on like doing acting in school and then at uni and stuff, alongside doing songwriting things. So yeah, it was all like, part of like, the general plan to be involved in the arts somehow. But
I'm still a performer.
I'm still a performer. I do
yes.
Gentle performance. And also Hot Time Machine and stuff like that, and Six every now and then. But yeah, it's so I do still do performing from my child acting days. But
amazing.
Because that was all like film and TV stuff. I didn't do any acting in professional theatre.
It's very cute. Toby is unbelievably cute.
I found some amazing stills, by the way. You have, your IMDb is still live. Yeah, I just want to.
They've falsely credited me for at least like 2 films. I'm just like not in. There's like a TV rules, and then apparently I play like deaf in it. But
I love. Just leave it on. Just leave it on. Don't tell them. Lucy, you went to Lanes and studied. Were you on the musical theatre course there?
Yeah. I did the foundation course and then the first year of the 3 years. So I think you only specialize in the final year between dance or musical theatre. So I think it was all like the musical theatre. So yeah, basically, yeah, I was doing. When I applied, I thought it was just a dance school. I didn't realize it was a musical theatre school. And then I was like, why do I have to sing? I don't get it. And then I got there and it was like loads of like acting classes. And I was like, oh, yeah.
And then kind of decided that going and studying was more kind of the line you wanted to go down. Like, what was the decision there?
Yeah, it was a bit weird. Like, I didn't really make that decision so much as like I I was like, I always wanted to like be a dancer and like pursue dancing beyond like full time, and but I like had been at quite an academic school, and my mum was quite like, oh no, like academic stuff is what you have to do, kind of thing. So I was like, oh well, I'll like apply for this 1-year course and like, you know, get it out my system and then go to uni. So like on the same day that I started at Lane, I like sent off my applications for uni to study history, and I was kind of like, I'll just keep my options open, like see what happens. And then I ended up like getting into uni, but then also getting into the 3-year course, and then being a bit like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and then like writing to university and being like, hey, can I like defer for a year so I can stay and do more? Because I kind of like, I realized that like I like in terms of dancing, I like it was the thing I like loved to do the most and like the thing I was most passionate about. But like in terms of like actual like career prospects for me, like there's lots of things like that meant that I wouldn't ever be like the complete like top of the like list of dancers. And also like I because of like cast ability and my voice and stuff, I was just like I was like I don't think I'm ever going to be able to like do the like kind of like things that I actually like would want to be doing. And so like in terms of like dancing like jobs, and I was a bit like I don't know, I was a bit like I don't like the lack of like the you have to like really fight to make your own creativity when you're like studying, I think, dancing, because you know I could have spent my whole time like choreographing stuff, but I like very rarely did that. And I was like, I kind of want to be a bit more creative, so I like ended up being like, well, I'm gonna like go for 2 years, get the experience, and then go to university and spend all my time like directing plays outside of my studies to kind of like, so it was sort of like I didn't like decide to leave. I kind of like, it was all predetermined before I even started that was gonna be a thing. I don't know, yeah, blah blah.
Do you think that that background for both of you influences your choices in terms of writing?
I think definitely does for me. I think a huge part of writing Six came about because I'd spent a lot of time in the musical theatre, like professional, like hearing about the professional world, and thinking about the way in which like roles for women were really limited, and how a lot of like the musical theatre industry can be kind of like backwards and like hierarchical, and kind of like it was a thing that, and I was used to like think about all the like, you know, all the like the kind of average guys who'd get all these parts, and there are like thousands of like really talented women who'd be like fighting for the same like 2 roles, which were like being the girlfriend or like the mom. And I was like, I don't know if that's like fun. So that was part of what we kind of talked about when we first wanted to write Six, was like based on like my experience of being at musical theatre college and being like, I feel like there could be better parts for ladies out there, kind of thing. What about you, Tobes?
How my child acting influenced writing Six.
Does it no, or like your career now? My career
now. I don't know. My child acting felt like very separate from everything that we do now. You know, there aren't many crossovers between Miss Marple and Six, except for your good one.
Not that spring to mind immediately, but if I think of one, I'll let you know.
But yeah, I guess like, you know, doing lots of performing and doing my like songwriting separately always felt like very like separate things. And then it wasn't until like at uni, when there were all these like creative people everywhere bouncing around doing lots of different creative things, where I kind of like explored like bringing like my love of theatre and acting and performance with like songwriting and like performing things I was writing in a theatrical context. And it all kind of like came together in the 3rd year when we were doing things like Six and Hot Gay Time Machine, which like was like a combination of like performing and writing and directing and like and you know, dance and all the things that we all enjoy doing, kind of like hobbled together into these 2 messy projects. So yeah, I guess it's all, you know, yeah. But I didn't go to theatre school. But,
no.
Yeah.
I think the story of Six, I can't think from, you know, Edinburgh Fringe as a student production in 2017 to where it is today is fairly well documented. What was the kind of moment that the 2 of you looked at each other and went, okay, this is now something else, you know, this has become the phenomenon? You know, everyone talks about that moment where they kind of go, oh my gosh, this show is kind of almost bigger than itself.
I feel like we get asked this question quite a lot. I feel like every time I think I've given a different answer, because like I don't really know if there is.
Do you know what it kind of is? It's like, because in our heads it was this like Edinburgh Fringe show that we were doing with our friends, and that was what it was always going to be. And then we were going to do it at the Fringe, we're going to do a week back in Cambridge, and then we were going to like move on with our lives. And then like during that Fringe, there were like some producers that we met with who were a bit like, oh, like maybe this thing, but we were a bit like no, and nothing was like concrete. It was just a bit like exciting and like nerve-wracking and stressful. But I think it was like when Kenny Wax, who is one of the producers of Six, came to see Six on like the Friday of the home run. And then the next day was like, come to my office next week on Shaftesbury Avenue. And then we like went, and when he like sat us down and was like, I've got a theatre in London. I've got a theatre in London. He's like, there's a theatre my show is on at the moment, which I don't own, obviously. And I've got a couple of like Monday nights over Christmas. I'd like to do like a professional showcase of your musical. And that was the moment where it suddenly went from this like this thing we were doing at the Fringe, like a fun summer before we like carried on with our lives and worked out what we're going to do, to being like a professional showcase on like a West End stage for like a London audience, you know? And that was like 0 to 60 in 3.5 in the words of Rihanna. It was like, that was like the huge shift where it was like, oh my God, like this is good. Like what? This is like, he was talking about like inviting regional theatres to come see it and talking about inviting someone from like America to come see it.
I
just
like, remembered him saying something like, I can't remember exactly which theatre it was, but it was something like, oh yeah, we'll invite this person from like the Old Vic or like the National, and we like fell about like laughing. And then he was like, oh, we don't have to invite them. We were like, no, we want you to.
I feel like that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
This is so stupid. This is like beyond our wildest dreams.
And then I think beyond, like from that point onwards, like every week there was like some new exciting bit of news that kind of like out-trumped everything that had happened so far. So like that happened, and then it was like, here's like a professional orchestrator that's going to make your songs sound like pop songs, and oh, here's like a photo shoot for like the Evening Standard that's going to like on like, you know, the Tube, you know, like it's like, oh, here's like a poster on the Tube for the show, and
escalator posters. Was
after that Fringe,
that was cool.
But and then I just things just like kept happening where like it was, but that first leap, kind of like from Kenny being like, I'd like to see the showcases, that was a bit like, oh wow, this is like this is the big change.
Yeah. Although I feel like there are also like, I had like two sort of ones at either end of it. One was when Broadway got announced, and I was in Tampa, like setting up the rehearsals for the cruise, the first cruise production. And I was like in the like break room with like, there were a couple of Six associate directors and like some other people who were working on the show there as well. And like the announcement came out, and I'd like known for weeks, and I was like, yeah, like whatever. And they also like crying and being like, this is such a big deal. And I was like, why is everyone like screaming at me? And they're like, isn't this like your like dream? And I was like, I don't know. And it was just like everyone like crying, because it was like they were like, we're working on this thing and it's going to Broadway. And that was the moment I was like, this feels like a big like shift in gear, and feels like a big like what is happening moment, mostly because I was quite chill about it and everyone else was like really sobbing.
It's funny, so much I think so much like the big like emotional moments of like, oh my God, wow, I can't believe this has happened, is often like through other people's eyes, because it wasn't like we went into an office one day and like the producer sat us down and was like, the show is going to Broadway. Like it was like this like conversation that was like maybe and then like it just like gradually kind of seeped in. And it was like, oh, so we've got the theatre now. And by then it was like, that was off like months and months of getting email updates and meeting updates, being like, oh, so we're now thinking maybe an off-Broadway thing for a few weeks, and that like kind of thing. And then so then when the announcement happened, that was like when no one knew about Broadway, just suddenly everyone knowing about Broadway. And then it was like, I think I was like in a cafe and I just started getting all these like texts or people like, oh my God. And I was like, but I knew this. And I was like, oh wait, that is that.
That was happening.
I think that for me, the most like emotional version of this was actually like, it was maybe like the second week of the Edinburgh Fringe 2017, so when it was like a student production, and Jamie, my co-director, like called me and was like, oh, this like Fringe theatre in London is interested in taking this like show, this company for like to do like a week-long run in London. And I was like directing this other show at the time, and we were like having dinner all together, and I ran out of the room and was like screaming on the phone, like and I was like, oh my goodness, the craziest thing has happened. I was just like, I was like so overwhelmed by the idea that anything would happen beyond the Fringe. It's just like really funny now that's probably the most excited I've been at any moment in like.
Oh my gosh, crazy. Do you want to know something hilarious?
What?
And another moment like similar to that during that Fringe was when guess who came to see the show in like the second week? Arlene Phillips.
Oh my God, yes.
And we were like, oh my God, Arlene Phillips in the audience. Like, Arlene Phillips is in the audience today. And then after she like came up to me and she was like, and like said all these like lovely things about the show. And I was there like, Lucy, Mum, Arlene Phillips. And I was like, oh hi Arlene, yeah, we're gonna be patrons. Like
Life Made.
We're colleagues now.
We were working with her like at the time on a different project that went to the other palace, and I'd never met her, and she hadn't brought us on as the casting team. It was one of the producers, and it was kind of one of those recommendation things. So you're like, oh, you know, the pressure's on. We've got to like deliver a brand new team. And she walked on the first day, and obviously, you know, it's Arlene Phillips. Like she's a legend, and she just walked in and slapped this program down on the desk. You know, we had the panel down, you know, all set up, and she went, this, everyone in this room has to go and see this. And she opened it, she went, we want to see this girl, we want to see this girl, we want to see this girl. I was like, oh, okay, like frantically waiting. She was like, this is going to be the next thing. She was like, I'm obsessed with this show, I'm going back to see it. And we were like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, but I'd heard, you know, whispers of it, and I was like, okay, yeah. So that was my very first introduction to Ollie.
Les Mis.
Yeah. Phantom of the Opera. No, it was. But yeah, that's amazing. I love that. Like Life Made, Arlene's in the audience. It's amazing. And I think what's interesting is chatting to some of the queens that are you know, have been in the show or are in the show now, and especially those who have been in other productions, like West End shows or quite sort of long running shows. And I think they've kind of said that they've never experienced a fandom like Six has. And obviously the show is incredibly clever and it's incredibly well written. The songs are amazing and the production is fabulous. And I love that it's 75 minutes. But so with thanks. With all those things, you know, the fandom really has helped propel this show forward. And I don't know if Hamilton has its own fan base, but it's very specifically, I think, different. I mean, Hamilton is its own beast, and I know there have been parallels drawn at some points, which I don't think actually are very accurate. I think they're completely different shows in their own right. But do you agree that the fans have been a large part of propelling this show forward?
You go.
Yeah, definitely. Like that. Yeah, it wouldn't have gone anywhere without the kind of support from fans. And I also think it's like it's just such a like engaged and like creative and like passionate fandom. Like I think that it's not just that they're like, oh, love the show, like that come and see it. Like it's like they'll come like hundreds of times and they will be in like cosplay, and they'll have like made all this amazing like fan art and like do like covers, and then like also do stuff like when they perceive something that's like not great is like happening in the like world of Six, they'll be like, hey, we really think this thing, and they'll like give us a chance to be like, oh cool, you're so right, and like kind of like try and like change our approach. So that they're just like really like switched on and amazing, and just like the like vocalness of the support and like and the fact that they like share their own interpretations of stuff means that like the reach of Six is just so much wider than if we were just there being like, come and see the show. Do you know what I mean?
I think as well. Sorry, Toby. I think what you've done is create a show that speaks to a genuine younger audience, not a show that says we're speaking to a young audience, but young people who maybe haven't been to see other productions or have been to see something with their parents. Now there's a show that's theirs, and I think this show is bringing in, you know, a demographic of people who, you know, are young and maybe, you know, this is their first experience of theatre, and it's something they can really engage with.
Love that.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, I hope there's more of that.
Toby, sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna say that like it's just really nice. There's like a bunch of people who have like, you know, came to see it at the Fringe the first time and like came to the showcases and stuff, and then the first like professional like tour really early on, and like who are like still like supporters of it on like Instagram and Twitter and stuff, which is really nice. And so it's nice we've got like some really like, you know, loyal fans within the fan base who are like really great, and the ones who are always like championing like the new queens and keeping it like a nice like as the show's like spreading, they're like, you know, spreading the love to all like, you know, all the queens that are in it and all the people that work on the show. So yeah, it's like a really like lovely community. I'm very like hugely grateful for everyone that's part of it.
In terms of kind of what you guys have created, and other than the show itself, is an amazing sense working on it as a casting director, is an amazing sense that every queen is their own organic being. So there's never a cookie cutter replication of what has gone before. So I think that really speaks to people as well, that although obviously vocally certain queens might have certain, you know, stylistic sounds, or it might be a certain feel or an energy of personality, that actually you have created and through the rehearsal processes that you've kind of put in place as well, a show where performers can really make those roles their own. And I think that's really unique as well. Was that something you set out specifically to do, or was it just an organic? Because obviously it went from being the arts to the arts and a tour and Australia and to Ships and Broadway. Well, originally it wasn't in Broadway, was it? It was in Chicago, but in the space of kind of 18 months. So was that always part of your, I know, is that not, take the week off. Was that kind of always part of the vision, that this was always going to be something where people were able to create within the show?
Yeah, I mean, well, like there was never any like vision of it being anything other than just the people that we had originally do it. You know, we there was no kind of like, we're going to like have this like show that runs internationally in lots of different places. But yeah, I think like from the very beginning, like the way that we wrote the like script and characters was like we like had an idea for like they're like the whole like idea of it was to write like relatable characters who like people in the audience would like be like, oh my god, yeah, that's like me. But in writing that, I think that we also like hopefully made characters that people, whoever you are, you can be like, oh yeah, I can like tap into like that part of myself, or I can tap into this part of myself. And I think because it's so much about like it's even though it's like about the Sixth Wives of Henry VIII, it's like supposed to be really about like female identifying people today, like claiming their space and like using their voice and being like, look, here I am, here's what I can do. When we first wrote the show, we had like all of our like manifesto that we wrote was all about like those performers like being entertaining and being funny and taking space and being engaging, as opposed to us being like, we need to tell the story of Catherine of Aragon. So like the essence of the writing was about like giving like a vehicle for the performers to like be like, this is who I am, this is what I can do. And then like, so then whenever we sort of moved forward with it, we never wanted to like recreate other people's like authentic versions of stuff, because it just like it wasn't written, like we basically like underwrote the characters in a big way to sort of rely on people to like fill it in with their own kind of self, you know.
Yeah, but it's also like a testament to like you and Jamie, that like and also the amazing associate directors that we have like in all the different countries, but like that like with every rehearsal process and every new set of queens, there's like something that happens during those first few weeks of rehearsal where it's a really like magical moment where you see like each cast member through the different like runs like find their version of the character and like do their song or like do their like monologue in like this like amazing way that like it's really fun for me because I don't direct it, and so I just get to like, you know, hop around and like go and see like a rehearsal process and be like, oh my god, I've never like seen the Aragon like that before, it's so good. And so yeah, it's like a real testament to our like amazing like directorial team, and also the performers but the work that happens there in the rehearsals, that means that like every single queen that you'll see like is a completely like different personality and different character to another one, which is really fun. And that's including all the alternates as well, who like do that multiple times for all the different things that they go on for. So yeah, it's like it's a fun part of the show, because it like never get seeing a different production of it is always fun and exciting, and it's always fresh and different, which means it rarely gets boring.
And same with seeing alternates as well. It's like really exciting to be like, oh my god, I can't wait to see like Vicky Mance's version of Heart, whatever.
Yeah,
like
the best days ever.
Yeah,
they're the ones I'm in awe of more than anything else. The alternates, like the skills they're involved in playing Aragon at lunch and then going on and doing like at 6 o'clock, like blows my mind. It blows my mind.
It reminds me of like this like BBC Radio 1 Live Lounge albums. Do you remember those things where it was like Spotify, where it's like, oh my god, Moona are doing a cover of like motivation, or like, you know, the Arctic Monkeys doing their cover of Teenage Dream. I can't wait to hear what that sounds like. And it's like, oh my God, like Grace Mars going on for Berlin today. I wonder what that's going to be like. So, it's
so true. We've got a couple of questions in. While we're talking about Six, Nara says there is a lack of diversity of gender identity and gender expression in characters on stage. Theatre's still very much entangled in the gender binary. Is non-binary representation something we'll see more of in your future projects? Good question.
Yeah, that's an amazing question, and that is like 100% accurate and like what we're aiming for. Thanks for following the Pink Project. But yeah, in terms of like Six, like, you know, we've been having conversations, you know, since Pearson Casting got on about like, you know, like opening up the casting call and like getting like non-binary people and gender non-conforming people in for auditions, and also like in the things we're writing, we're actually
it's
very funny you ask, but yeah, there's a film idea, an animated film idea that we're working on at the moment.
But you know, maybe it'll end up being a theatre show.
Maybe it'll be a theatre show at some point. Yeah, it's not a theatre show, but whatever. But like with a non-binary lead. And lots of different, like, you know, people who like within the trans umbrella in the characters, and it's which we're like really looking forward to. And you know, it's, you know, non-binary representation and all like gender non-conforming representation and all queer representation is something that we care about deeply. And it's just funny that like
because like literally an hour before this we were literally just like working on that project.
Yeah, so hopefully over the next, you know, year or two, or, you know, whenever, there's going to be more stuff from us representing you know, non-binary people and all different people and all different queer experiences. But I completely agree that there should be more of that in Six, and that's something that we're really, you know, aiming to do. So watch this space and please hold us to account if that doesn't happen.
Love that. Actually, something I was going to come on to later on, but this ties in really well here, is obviously this has been a bit of a strange period of hiatus for everyone in the arts industry, but particularly in the live arts. And there is potentially an opportunity to see some positive come out the other side of this, not just in terms of people being creative in this downtime, but also that there is potential maybe to restructure a little bit the way that theatre looks, and that we have an opportunity now to not necessarily go straight back to the way things were, but to look forward. So what are the things that the two of you would love to see change in the industry for the positive?
I think it's interesting because, as well as this time being like a time where like theatre's on hiatus, we've obviously seen the like resurgence and like massive growth of the Black Lives Matter movement, and like basically everybody reckoning with the fact that like what they thought they were doing before was absolutely not like anti-racist enough or anywhere near radical enough. And I think that's something that we have been thinking a lot about in terms of how moving forward we can, like, rather than sort of being like, oh, we like represent like inclusivity generally, we can be really actively like anti-racist and like actively like trying to like do as much like and the thing is that like Toby and I are particularly in quite like a unique position in the industry where we are like, you know, probably like some of the youngest people who have the power to kind of like make the like insist on like changes. And I think because we feel like we're small children, a lot of the time we're like, well, maybe should we do this? Can we ask for this? Like, we should really be doing this. And I think we've really been like taking the space to be like, we can really like insist and make a nuisance of ourselves until like to like make changes happen, like in terms of like just like who gets like brought into the room, not just in terms of casting, but specifically like behind the scenes, and in terms of like who gets opportunities and how we can make sure that we're not just like giving opportunities to people who like already happen to be like in the room or like who have like been told for ages that they'll be able to work in this industry and stuff. So I think that's something that would be really important to pick up.
And then also like, you know, in the industry as a whole, like more like Black voices telling Black stories, more people of color in positions of power, more like queer narratives that aren't ones that we've heard before, and I guess like the way that comes is from the people in power, like offering opportunities to those people and like providing systems for people who don't have as many opportunities to have like to like be able to like be empowered and to write and to like have their stories like, you know, shown and heard, to put money behind them. So yeah, that'd be great.
Brilliant. Yeah, great. I think all of those things are things that we have definitely encouraged and welcomed conversations about on this platform, because this is a platform which is very accessible to lots of people, and it's been really important to us as well that, you know, as you say, Lucy, that there's not just like inclusivity, but we are taking anti-racist stance and re-examining our processes and the way that we've all been working. So I think that's really important. I really want to talk about Hot Gay Time Machine. When is it coming back?
I don't know, Rosie.
We got an email today.
Did we?
Yeah, but this is hot off the press. I can't say anything more than that.
Not even I know,
Yeah.
and I'm one of the hot gays.
Is there an exclusive here?
We were supposed to be doing a short run at the Soho Theatre in London, and then in Joe's Public in New York in like May, but obviously that didn't happen.
Coronavirus is homophobic.
So sad.
But yeah, really sad. But I want to do it again soon, and we've got like, because it's just the most fun thing to do with lovely Zach, Hot Gay Zach. But yeah, I mean, we've got some like other thoughts and plans for like not just like the stage show, but like for the concept, and you know,
Amazing.
for the concept of being hot gays and time travel, and you know, other spaces that could work and other ways that we could like use the characters, and you know, perhaps like a little TV throw on someone, who knows. But yeah, I don't know. It's I was so sad that we didn't get to do it.
Yeah.
But you know,
I just want to see it again. It's my favorite show to watch.
I've never seen it. But
It's really good, Toby. You should know that.
go on for me one
I'll
day.
go on for you one day.
Yeah.
I did actually go on stage once, and it was the
Did
worst
you?
Actually, yeah, it was when we did the West End run, and Zach had injured his back really dramatically, and it was like quite sad. And then there was a thing where like there was this like dance at the end that like had where he'd injured himself, and then we'd been like joking, and he'd been like, "Oh my god, wait, it'd be so funny if like you like ran on from the audience and like did the dance." And then afterwards we'll be like, "Oh, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like we probably didn't notice anything, but like my understudy, my body double just came on and I did the dance for me, but you probably didn't even see it." Like make a big joke out of it because that couldn't do the dance. And so I was like doing it, so I was like sitting through the whole show being like, oh my goodness. Oh, also it was a thing where like he told them at the beginning that he was injured and couldn't do any of the dancing, but then had like the adrenaline had taken over and he'd been doing all the dancing, and I was like, it was like 45 minutes into the show, and I was like, no one is going to remember that he's like injured or that why this is happening, but I couldn't say anything. Anyway, so I like run on and do this like this dance to Halo by Beyonce.
Yeah.
And then I walk off stage, and then Toby and Zach just like didn't mention it, like forget to do the joke, like forget anything, just like carry on with the show, and everyone in the audience is like, who was that, like what just happened, what is going on? Yeah, we did it for morale. It was funny. It was funny. It was for morale. It was to make Zach feel better about his horrible injury.
You do feel actually both of you setting a precedent to make cameos in your own shows, that now you have to carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach just needs to be in 6 now.
Yeah.
That's the only. Yeah.
So I don't know how much of this you can discuss, but Findley says, have you guys been working on some new ideas shows? And he loves the new material that you guys have been premiering at the Signal online concerts. So anything that you can share with people at the moment that you've been working on?
What can we say? Well, we've been doing some kind of fun projects. I think we're allowed to say this because we're not being specific, but like our like publishing company, Warner Chappell, have been sending us through these like K-pop challenges, which is quite fun, where they they basically go like, oh, here's like a backing track, can you like write a top line to it? So it's like being sent a karaoke track, and then you having to like invent the song on top of it. And like I feel like when like there's like we've done a couple, and like I don't think they're ever going to be cut, but like so that's quite fun, the project we've been doing. But yeah, we've got quite a lot of, do you want to talk about some of our ideas that we've been or like just
Yeah,
what do you say?
I feel like the general thing that we've been thinking a lot about for like a couple of years, which we're kind of like putting into concrete ideas now, is like family movies, musicals, and like animated movie musicals specifically, and how like they're the things that we all grow up watching and loving. All like the songs are fabulous and great, but so often like the politics of those movies can be like a little like regressive or like a little bit like traditional. Do you know what I mean? And like they're all just like, you know, super straight and super cis.
And they just like reinforce the idea that like,
right,
that, like things that we have such hope for like younger people these days. We're like, oh my gosh, they're going to be the future. But then we're like, oh my god, but you have to sit down and watch Snow White. And then it's like, or even like Frozen, even though like love Frozen obviously, but like, you know, I was watching it with my little cousin, and then like later on he asked me if my brother's new friend was his wife, and I was like, oh god, no, it's not.
And so similarly to what we kind of mentioning earlier, there's a couple of like they might be stage shows, they might be like animated movie musicals, but kind of like you know, family narrative, like
yeah,
like
yeah,
you know what I mean, like family entertainment narrative things, but that are like centering like queer narratives, like and kind of like talking about some like social politics that we care about in a way that's a bit like allegorical or perhaps, but a way that like some like concepts that we spend a lot of our time discussing about like social structures and finding ways to like communicate those to like young people and get them like thinking about and questioning structures around them in a way that isn't like heavy-handed over the head, but is you know, trying to do something like that. So yeah, so that's some stuff we've been working on. And have you ever written anything else?
Yeah, I've written sort of standalone songs. We have like a few like few film things, few TV things.
We've got a song
theatre things.
Yeah, a couple of theatre projects that and we've written a song that is going to come out, I reckon, in the next couple of weeks. That's like an isolation themed pop song.
I feel like maybe like in a month's time.
An isolation themed pop song.
That like one of our favorite ever choreographers is like doing a video too.
Yeah, so a music video for a song we've written. How fun! Isn't that cool?
Amazing. When's it out?
Lady Gaga. Yeah, so I maybe like a month.
Yeah, we're not sure. We're just like that, you know, we're like doing the like rehearsing this week and recording and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. And what, like, okay, we'll just wait for information. We'll wait. I have to wait. I have to be patient.
It'll be on YouTube.
Yeah, it'll be on.
By the way, I'm obviously really old, so I'd never been on TikTok, and yeah, I'm not doing that again. Guys, no, that is just way out of my. And I think I ended up there because I clicked on something 6, and it's just a world. Are you guys on TikTok? Do you use it?
We're too old.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, if you're too old, then definitely I'm.
We're millennials. Yeah. We're not Gen Z.
Yeah, we're not.
We can't get away with TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good to know. Good to know. So, I just want to talk a little bit about lockdown. Obviously, you've been incredibly busy writing and being creative, but what else have you done in lockdown? Toby, have you made any exciting banana bread?
No. My friend made.
Tell us what you've been up to.
Oh my
I've like cooked a couple of meals.
2.
I'm a terrible cook. I don't know how to cook, and so like I've made some things from cookbooks which weren't poisonous, which was good. Done a lot of like, I don't know, emotional processing and self-reflection and journaling, because it's been a busy couple of years, and then suddenly there was like nothing to do, and so I've been doing a lot of like self-work, which is great and fun, and lots of like reading and like of things that I haven't read before, which is ideal. Lots of like spending a lot of time on social media and
reading is really interesting because actually I have an English degree, well, English and theatre arts for my sins. And actually I felt like I had crammed so many books in 3 years that I literally just didn't read for like 2 years after I graduated. I literally felt like I had been forced to read, and some really brilliant and amazing texts, and I got to specialise a little bit more in my third year, which is amazing. But it actually took me a long time to go back and read for pleasure, and really finding time has been a bit of a challenge, and so it's ended up being a holiday. And in lockdown it's been really nice to go, okay, I've got like, do I go back and reread some D.H. Lawrence without the pressure of like read it in 2 days and then write an essay on it in the next 24? So that's been really nice.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot of like non-fiction, which has been fun. Oh, there's been one book that I've been reading for the whole of lockdown because it takes me so long to get through. Because every time I read a page, just like sit there and just like think about it and like write down notes. Because wait, I'll go and grab it.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! No, literally same. Like I actually recommended it. I was like halfway through it. I recommended it to Vidya, who plays Catherine Parr in Australia, and she read it in like 2 days. I was like, oh my goodness, the most amazing book I've ever read. And I was like, you are so far ahead of me.
It's Feminism Interrupted by Lola Olufemi.
Oh, I've heard of this. Okay.
Yeah, that's Lola.
Okay, amazing.
She's unbelievable. But yeah, I'm almost at the end, but I've been kind of like reading it a bit each day, and then every time like I read a page, I'm like, I have to like think about it and
process.
And process, like, have to deal with the fact that, like, I have to process why it's all, like, new and revelatory and shocking to me, and then be like, okay, well, I've got a lot to unpack here. About all my internalized, can I swear? I don't need to.
I mean, Lynn said shit in, like, the first 10 seconds of her interview, so it's...
Oh, my God.
So, you know, if Arlene can do it.
Truly.
What have you been doing, Lucy?
I've been doing a lot of weightlifting.
That is not what I expected you to say.
I was thinking about what I've been doing other than working and like writing, and that's like the only thing. I've been doing it 3 times a week, and because basically when we went to New York for Broadway, I was like, I need to like force myself to do some kind of exercise, otherwise I'm going to get really stressed. And so I like asked my friend from New York for a recommendation of a personal trainer, and like didn't really, I thought because he's a kind of bougie guy, and I thought it'd be kind of like a bougie like training thing, which it is, but it's, I like turn up at the gym in New York, and it's like exclusively like squat racks with like really, really heavy weights and all these really buff guys like working out and me. And I was like, oh no, I'm scared. But then I got really into it, and then I was like, well, why don't we carry on doing training like over FaceTime? So then I like 3 times a week just like lift weights for an hour. It's actually really fun, and I'm actually really strong now. Yeah. I could beat you to the ground.
Lucy often does. I don't know the best you've written, Lucy.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, amazing. I think we've been talking a lot with people about you know, feeling pressured maybe to feel that they've achieved things during this period. You know, Gwyneth Paltrow's out there going, you know, play the guitar and, you know, learn a language and write a book. And it's like, well, that's all very well, Gwyneth, but, you know, back in the real world, like not all of us have time or the inspiration. And it's been a hard time for people. There's been disappointments and there's been hiatuses and people have been out of work. So it's been really important for us to say to people, if you haven't achieved anything in this time, that's okay as well. Like, take the pressure off yourself. If you kind of managed to do that for yourselves as well?
Yeah, we have definitely not achieved anything.
I don't know. It's like it's off and on. Sometimes we've come together and it's been like really like productive and great, and sometimes we come together like this week and it's been we've been less in the headspace to be able to do stuff. I kind of feel like at the moment when there's like a pandemic and a civil rights movement, like, you know, like waking up in the morning is like an achievement and something you should feel like, wow, I did a really good job today, of like, you know, being able to like maybe get out of bed or like have a shower. So yeah, I think like especially at the start there was just a lot of stuff of like, here's things you can like do for your time, and it was like stressful. And yeah, but some of the most like productive days I've had have just been like like, as I said, like lying in my bed or lying on my sofa and just like, you know, reflecting. You know what I mean?
So luxurious.
So just like lying being fed grapes and going,
I did.
and like, so yeah, it's it's but
it's definitely not. And like, if you're feeling inspired, great. And there's been a few days, as Toby said, where we've been like, oh, inspired, excited, woohoo. And then, but then there's also like days where it's just like, you just gotta be kind to yourself. If you're just like, I can't do this right now, then that's also fine. And yeah, I'm a bit suspicious of people who are achieving things. I think there's something wrong with it. No, I'm kidding. You know,
Definitely.
Yeah.
I fully intended last weekend. We took the whole weekend off, which we haven't done for months because obviously CCI is keeping us incredibly busy, which is amazing, and we love the focus and the connection that we get from doing this. But it's been hard to take 2 days off together, and I was like, I'm going to do this gardening. I'm going to read this book. Anyway, I ended up just smashing both series of Selling Sunset on Netflix.
That's an achievement,
honestly.
Yeah, you know, it really, and I even got James dragged in. He watched the first one and was like, no, absolutely. Have you guys watched it?
No, I
don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I should tell you because you're supposed to be writing and being really productive, but Selling Sunset on Netflix, guys, it's about a really high-end real estate agency in LA. It's a reality show. Like it's all completely like staged, like a drama, but it's all these beautiful women that look like models, and it's run by these two. Anyway, I'm so sorry I'm talking about this on here.
No, it sounds good.
Like the whole weekend was just Selling Sunset. Like watch one, it's absolutely brilliant. It's like Shakespearean. Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, I love Shakespeare. And LA. And how
LA. Yeah. Actually managed to make LA look like quite a nice place to live. So that's like one of the biggest achievements, I think. So Lucy, I think it was you that set the challenge in 2019. Did you watch 100 pieces of theatre?
I did, and I've watched like one this year. Yeah, I watched 100 shows in 2019.
That's amazing.
Not including any of our own. So not including the Hot Gay Time Machine or any of our stuff. I think I might have included one Signal.
Okay.
Like, you know, the musical theatre.
That counts.
Which we had a song in, but I was like, I like watched the rest of it as a so I counted that one, I think.
We're going to the theatre.
We are.
When?
Next week.
To see what?
Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh wow! Oh, amazing. I'm very jealous.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to go to
see live theatre. Will be amazing. I've got to ask both of you what your 3 favourite things are, other than your own work, that you've seen in the last 3 years.
Oh my god!
I've got my list.
You've got a list, haven't you?
Okay. No, my 3. Okay, wait.
I only have 3. So sorry.
Oh.
Okay. One of them is The Inheritance.
Oh my god! I'm just gonna.
Oh yeah. Okay.
One of them is Slave Play by Jeremy O. Harris.
Okay.
And what is the? Hang on, I need to just look. Let me just. Okay, those.
One of mine is Anne Juliet.
Yes.
I think one of mine is also The Inheritance.
Wait.
Oh my god.
3 that. Ooh. Oh my gosh,
this is really difficult.
Oh, I think maybe Hannah Gadsby Nanette. I saw that at Soho Theatre before it was.
You cut out there, Lucy. Say that again.
Hannah Gadsby Nanette.
Yes.
I saw that before it was on Netflix. Because I'm a big fan. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, what was literally Hamilton. What was the show at the Fringe that you told me to see and I really liked it? Seasick.
That was horrendous though, because it's about like the realities of global warming.
Yeah, but it was really like inspiring at the end about. It was a very inspiring message at the end about like what we can all do when it comes to like climate crisis, and it's quite like a great message in terms of like what we can do when it comes to crisis, and how like everyone has like a way of like helping a crisis or a movement using their like specific like, you know, skill or platform or power that they have on whatever scale it is. And that was really inspiring, but also horribly traumatizing. So it was about soil and how there's no It's about soil.
That's like,
That's oil.
Wait, what are yours? What are yours?
yeah, what are yours?
Well, do you know, I didn't really get to see many plays at all last year. In fact, almost nothing, because predominantly when we go to the theatre, it's because we're being taken by an agent and they always take us to see musicals. Well, I know, I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah. I've been treated and wine and dine.
No, not always the whining and dining, but but yeah, and so then it's kind of difficult to make your own time. But Lucy going to see 100 shows kind of does put in perspective that if I only see 50 or 60 that year, I'm probably failing.
I have to say, I did see a lot of crap. I probably didn't need to see that many. You know what I mean? I was like doing it to just like fill the quota, and then after a while, I was like, this is.
It's the same with everything. There's good and bad work everywhere in TV and theatre and film and all of it. We did get to see one show back in March when we were in New York. Just before Broadway closed, we got to see Jagged Little Pill.
I didn't see that.
I saw Jagged Little Pill.
Did you?
Yeah.
I loved it. We absolutely loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought the cast were amazing. And, you know, you kind of go in with an expectation of like, I loved the album, like that kind of defined my teen years. I don't even know if you were born when that different anyway.
Oh, do you know what? I'd also say that having watched I May Destroy You,
yes,
you know, that's kind of like raised the bar for all art entertainment for the rest of time.
Forever.
I'm a bit like, it's hard to think about how good. That was
your favourite play of this year.
That was my favourite play.
Favorite play of 2020.
That's my favourite play I like sat down and watched in any medium.
I would agree.
Yes, and I did all 6 back to back. I just sat and just watched all of them back. Yeah, it was incredible, like mind blowing, really exceptional.
Yeah, we had a bit of a gap between the first half and the second half.
Yeah, we watched the first 6 and then we binged the other ones. But it's really hard to watch more than one in one go.
Yeah.
Because they're like the book. Lots to take in.
Now I have a question back to 6. When you were writing Mega 6, did you guys already have planned for it to be a number that the audience is allowed to film?
It was written for there to be a number for them to film. I think if without the filming, I don't creatively like it. I think it's like it's like written as a kind of like, because the show is supposed to be a pop concert, like that's like they're like holding up your phone is just like the number one thing that people do at pop concerts, and like filming the pop stars and like having that interaction with them is so important. And it felt kind of weird to like, obviously we couldn't have that for the full show, but like it felt really important to have like a moment that like conceptually did that, but also it was just some like really smart producing where they were basically like, we think that people would go wild if they had like, if you could film like a sort of like thing, like a medley of the songs. So yeah, it was like literally written to do a sort of film section at the end.
Yeah, and which is why it's really sad when it can't be filmed.
Yeah, and occasionally we have to go to places where they don't let you film stuff, and it's like, but that was the whole, that's why this is
the whole point.
Yeah, it's literally the whole point. Otherwise it's just like, because the thing is that we originally didn't have it in for the Edinburgh show, and like we wrote 6 as a like finale that like, and like, you know how like the verses like they like reference the songs, but it's all about like them like reshape, like taking the songs and like shaping a new future for themselves. So that's the kind of like actual like finale of the show that like kind of does the like conceptual thing where it like nods to the songs, but it like doesn't go like, oh well, like here are the songs again, because they've like moved forward as characters, and then it's like, and I just like have a big like camp mega mix which like undoes all of that. But when you can film it, it sort of makes sense. Yeah,
and then like it was great at like when we did it for the second Fringe, Edinburgh Fringe, and then like people would like see it on social media and be like, ooh, what's this thing that's on my timeline everywhere? So I'm going to buy tickets to this. So really it's a capitalist creation. And it works with,
very cynical.
Yeah, but it's also catchy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Guys, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. It's just been incredible to hear you chat about 6 and about other things, and I think it's always exciting to hear that there are still creative processes happening and there are things for us to look forward to, because you know this isn't going to be forever. and we're all in the same boat. That's something we've said so much over the last couple of months, is that everyone from writers to producers to actors to casting directors, choreographers, everyone is in the same boat at the moment of kind of things being on hold. But it's always inspiring, I think, to kind of hear that there are things happening and singles to look forward to and shows in the pipeline. So that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you both so much as always. Been amazing. So we're going to sign off now. I'm just going to take you out of the live stream, talk a little bit about
That's Rosie. Nice.
You do for a sec, so I want to say bye-bye.
Okay.
Guys, thank you so much for your lovely questions. I'm going to tell you very quickly about what is happening tomorrow. We have the lovely Paul Di Stefano back. He is doing part 2 of creating dance for film. So if you saw that last part, that is still, if you missed it, it's still up on the YouTube channel. Hollyoaks casting director Peter Hunt is here tomorrow chatting with James about all things casting for TV and soaps. So make sure you tune in. Eddie Slattery, one of the contributing choreographers for Strictly Come Dancing, is with us at 1 o'clock. And Matthew Shaw is back. This is a slight change to what was scheduled initially, but he is back with us tomorrow, and he is working on speech quality and the misunderstanding of contemporary sounds. And then Omar F. Akai is back in the afternoon. He is working again with James Templeton on the script that they did with us a couple of weeks ago, and we're calling this the Recall Audition, and that is to finish off our Friday. That is it for today on Collective Creative Initiative. Make sure you are using our social media to tell us about the sessions and practitioners that you loved. We are at my gosh, it's been a long day. We are at CCI 2020 on Twitter and at Collective Creative Initiative on Instagram. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful evening, and we'll see you guys